Hello, my name is John Cardiff Gerhardt, a nonpartisan candidate for Nevada's state legislature over in the East Henderson and East Las Vegas area. And in this video, we are going to take a look at Nevada's ballot question number 3. So in the description, it will be changing the State Board of Pardons Commissioners, whose members are the Governor, Justice of Nevada Supreme Court, and Nevada Attorney General, and require them to meet at least quarterly. And the second part of it is to authorize each member of the board to submit matters for consideration by the board, or in other words, for the board's consideration. And 3, authorize the board to grant pardons and make other clemency decisions by a majority vote of its members without requiring the governor to be part of the majority of the board that votes in favor of such decisions. So in order to shed a little bit of light on why we even have questions, it has to do with Article 4 of our state constitution, section number 18, in a subsection about the referral of certain measures to voters, where a majority of all the members elected to each house may refer any measure which creates, generates, or increases any revenue in any form to the people of the state at the next general election, and shall become effective and in force only if it has been approved by a majority of the votes cast on the measure at each election. And so it doesn't actually show the source of what is being changed in our question. The media doesn't share any additional insightful information either. It's usually very convoluted and confusing. I believe it's done that way on purpose as a means to corral the Nevadan people into doing things that they don't fully understand. But the state constitution is the main focus of these questions, and basically the state legislature is passing off their ability or obligation to change the constitution onto the people who either vote yes or no on the question during the election on the ballot. So let's go into resolution number 1. This is going to be in Article 5, which is the executive department, otherwise known as the executive branch, and it covers section 14, which is currently titled Remission of Fines and Forfeitures, Commutations and Pardons, Suspension of Sentence, Probation. If we vote yes, it will read State Board of Pardon Commissioners, remissions of fines and forfeitures, commutations and pardons, suspension of sentence, probation. And the meat of the matter, the text that's actually going to be changed underneath this, is as follows. So first, let's read what we currently have, and then we'll read what we could have if we vote yes. So what we have, Subsection 1, the governor, justices of the Supreme Court, and attorney general, or a major part of them, of whom the governor shall be one, may, upon such conditions and with such limitations and restrictions as they may think proper, remit fines and forfeitures, commute punishments, except as otherwise provided in subsection 2, and grant pardons after convictions in all cases except treason and impeachments, subject to such regulations as may be provided by law relative to the manner of applying for pardons. So a bit confusing, but the one point I do want to point out here is the of whom the governor shall be one is part of this section which we currently have. And that may come into play later as we go into the next section. But also this as may be provided by law relative to the manner of applying for pardons means that there's some additional section of law elsewhere that isn't specifically identified in our Constitution. Therefore, it is almost impossible to figure out what all that actually says. So subsection 2 reads, except as may be provided by law, a sentence of death or a sentence of life imprisonment without possibility of parole may not be commuted to a sentence which would allow parole. So basically this board here, this group, does not have the ability to change the severe convictions into one in which someone would be able to leave prison. Subsection number 3, the legislature is authorized to pass laws conferring upon the district court's authority to suspend the execution of sentences, fix the conditions for and grant probation, and within the minimum and maximum periods authorized by law, fix the sentence to be served by the person convicted of crime in said courts. Well, that's interesting. The legislature, the legislative branch, is given the power to override district courts. At least as I understand it. If I am incorrect, or if you know a better understanding of what this means, then please leave a description in the comments below. So now let's go into what would be replaced if we vote yes on question number 3. Subsection 1 in this case, Subsection 1 in this case, the governor, justices of the Supreme Court, and Attorney General shall constitute the State Board of Pardons Commissioners. It's a little bit more concise. And it creates a specific group name. I've heard of this group name before. Let's do a Control F. Board of Pardons Commissioners. So there actually is a section on, oh, whoops, that's the one that we're looking at changing. Change. Oh, that's it. That's it. We never before had the addressing of Board of Pardons Commissioners before. And now it looks like that is what the title is going to be for this group. And it's going to be explicitly stated in our Constitution, whereas otherwise it was just a recognition of the members. Okay, so subsection 2, the State Board of Pardons Commissioners may, upon such conditions and with such limitations and restrictions as they may think proper, remit fines and forfeitures, commute punishments, except as provided in subsection 3, which we'll get to, and grant pardons after convictions in all cases except treason and impeachments, subject to such regulations as may be provided by law relative to the manner of applying for pardons. Interesting. So it's a little bit more precise, where these Board of Commissioners now have the ability to override convictions of the judicial branch, except when it comes to treason and impeachment, where, the politicians are the ones guilty. Interesting. Okay, subsection 3, except as may be provided by law, a sentence of death or sentence of life imprisonment without possibility of parole may not be commuted to a sentence which would allow parole. And that looks to be identical to number 2 in the original section. So they just copied it over and changed the first 2. Okay, so now subsection 4, the State Board of Pardons Commissioners shall meet at least quarterly. And this is a new section, as there currently is no, there's no specific meeting time or a frequency. So it looks like now we need at least, 4 times a year. Okay. Number 5, subsection number 5. Any member of the State Board of Pardons Commissioner may submit matters for consideration by the State Board of Pardons Commissioners. So it looks like there may have been a power struggle in our current Board of Pardons Commissioners, and this change would be a granting the ability for the members to actually introduce the matters for consideration. I don't know, as there seems to be additional laws outside of this Constitution which are not linked, therefore unable to truly comprehend. But it does seem like there's more transparency by bringing this new section in compared to what we currently have. Subsection 6, a majority of the members of the State Board of Pardons Commissioners is sufficient for any action to take for any action taken by the State Board of Pardon Commissioners. Now, that is directly different than number 1, where the governor has to be one of the majority. So it removes some of the power of the governor. Subsection number 7. The legislature is authorized to pass laws conferring upon the district court's authority to suspend the execution of sentences, fix conditions for, and to grant probation, and within the minimum and maximum periods authorized by law, fix the sentence to be served by the person convicted of crime in said courts. And that looks to be an exact copy of subsection number 3. Okay, so 2 and 3 have changed. Number 1 has been modified and other sections have been added, though overall it looks like there's a bit more transparency and coherency in what is being said in this section about the board, which has the ability to modify convictions in our judicial branch. And I just want to state that going back to the Article 4, Section 18, where the legislature essentially has the ability to pass off questions to the people, bypasses the governor, because normally how our legislature passes laws into acts and actually changes our constitution and other laws is by voting in each house, a majority vote, which then goes to the governor to sign it into an act. And this one question, this change actually affects the governor, and the way in which it's presented bypasses the governor's authority. I gotta say, I do like this idea of passing something that takes power away from the governor and doing so in a way that goes directly to the people, bypassing the governor's ability to veto it for the sake of withholding or maintaining his own power, especially in this day and age. So with that being said, that's my opinion. I would like to know what yours is. If you leave it in the comments, in the comments section below. And by all means, this is merely meant for you to make a better decision when voting on the questions in our ballot for the election this November 3rd, 2020 in the state of Nevada. Again, my name is John Cardiff Gerhardt, and I'm a nonpartisan candidate for the state legislature. Thank you so much.